the LA Grand Prix began making moves. Shortly after its debut in 2023. In 2024, the event amassed 846,000 viewers on NBC. After all, Sydney McLaughlin had famously beaten Gabby in her signature 200-meter sprint. This win was quite iconic for Sydney as a 400-meter hurdle specialist, and it made the meet unforgettable. While people were anticipating more such drama from track stars in the 2025 version, the LA Grand Prix ended up getting cancelled. But now it might be time for the track fans to re-energize, to welcome the athletes back to LA in 2026. As per Sports Examiner, the USATF LA Grand Prix has been added to the World Athletics calendar scheduled for June 14, 2026. This is shortly after the USATF NYC Grand Prix, which is also scheduled on the WA calendar for June 6, 2026. However, it's worth noting that the USATF events calendar doesn't show these two events for 2026 yet, but the World Athletics has marked these as the World Athletics Continental Tour Gold events, giving rise to speculation that the track meet might possibly be returning. Back in 2025, the LA Grand Prix, scheduled to be held earlier in June, was cancelled as per the CEO of USATF, Max Siegel, holding two major track meets at the same venue in Los Angeles within just 3 weeks was not a viable move since Grand Slam tracks' final Los Angeles leg was also set to take place in the same stadium on June 28 to 29. But the GST meet ended up getting cancelled, too. This was a heavy blow as the LA stadium went from having 2 scheduled track meets to none. Nevertheless, after the WA calendar now featuring these meets for 2026, it might be possible that the LA Grand Prix returns in the upcoming season. And if it does, given the past performances at this meet, one can certainly expect the attendance to be pretty high. After all, track and field stars like Ryan Crower and Ree Benjamin have rocked this meet with their performances in previous years, but 2026 might still have higher chances for the USATF LA Grand Prix to perform better. Star attraction can be high at the USATF LA Grand Prix. As you know, a reasonably good number of viewers, averaging about 846,000, tuned in to watch the 2024 USA LA Grand Prix. Out of these, about 58,000 were aged between 18 to 34, hinting that youth track fans tuned in to watch track stars like Sydney McLaughlin, who ran her personal best in the 200m in just 22.07 seconds. But she wasn't alone. Melissa Jefferson wouldn't bag the women's 100-meter gold at the 2024 USF LA Grand Prix in 11.27s, whereas Meryl Lady Paulino won the women's 400-meter in 50.27s. Another name in the star-studded lineup was Lizelle Tabogo, who bagged silver in the men's 100-meter in 10.13s. Back then, many of these stars were finding their way to the global podium. But ever since, a lot has changed. The Paris Olympics 2024 and the World Athletics Championships 2025 have made many of them global champions. Melissa Jefferson Wooden now has triple world gold medals, and Lel Tabogo is both an Olympic 200m champion and a world 4x400 meter relay gold medalist. So, should Any of these stars return to the LA Grand Prix in 2026? Possibly. There can be much larger crowds to witness their performances. Even though the ticket sales for the USATF LA Grand Prix in 2024 were modest with the anticipation of watching these stars, it can be a win-win situation in the 2026 season. So, if the meet does return, the track world is buzzing once again. Not because of a record-breaking sprint or a surprise upset, but because of a rumor. A whisper making its way through athlete circles, media rooms, and fan forums. USATF might revive the iconic meet where Sydney McLaughlin outpaced Gabby Thomas in one of the most talked about showdowns in American track history. 4. Fans who witnessed that unforgettable clash, the idea feels electric. For the athletes, it stirs both nostalgia and unfinished business. The meet that changed everything. It was one of those days that felt destined to become legend. The air was thick with anticipation. The stands filled to capacity, and the tension between the two American stars was almost cinematic. Gabby Thomas, the Harvard-educated sprinter with an aura of precision and grace, had been on a streak of dominant performances. Sydney McLaughlin, the reigning 400-meter hurdles queen, had just shifted focus to flat events. A move that raised eyebrows but also drew massive attention. When the two lined up for the women's 400-meter, it was billed as a friendly rivalry. But anyone watching knew it was more than that. It was a battle for American supremacy. A moment that blurred the lines between events specialties and revealed what happens when greatness meets greatness. The gun fired, and from the first stride, Sydney looked different, smooth, almost effortless, her stride rhythm hypnotic. Gabby, true to her style, attacked the curve with aggression, determined not to let McLaughlin control the pace. For 300 they were inseparable. 2 forces moving in harmony and opposition. But as the home stretch unfolded, Sydney's stride lengthened like a tide, overtaking the shore. Gabby fought valiantly, her face set in fierce determination, but the gap widened ever so slightly. When the finish line flashed, Sydney had done it, clocking one of the fastest flat 400s ever run by a hurdler. The crowd erupted. Commentators screamed, and the clip went viral across every sports platform. Yet, even in defeat, Gabby's performance was hailed as one of the bravest of her career. If that race didn't light a fire for every woman on the circuit, nothing will, one analyst said. And it did. That meet became a benchmark, a memory that fans and athletes revisited whenever conversations about competition, courage, and greatness surfaced. The rumor returns. Now, years later, whispers have begun circulating that USATF might bring it back. The name hasn't been officially released, but insiders describe it as a potential heritage meet, or revival of the exact event structure, venue, and lineup style that made the original Showdown historic. According to reports, USAF aims to restore not only the competition, but also the storytelling, pitting elite sprinters, hurdlers, and middle-distance stars in crossover events to reignite public passion for the sport. The concept legends versus rising stars. And at the center of those Speculations, Sydney and Gabby, A. Rivalry redefined. The thought of seeing McLaughlin, Levon, and Thomas on the same track again has sparked a social media storm. Fans are already replaying old highlights, editing side by side comparison videos, and debating who has the edge now. Who has spent recent seasons perfecting her blend of 400m endurance and hurdling dominance remains a technical marvel. Her stride, efficiency, mental calm, and world record pedigree make her a near mythic figure in the sport. Gabby, meanwhile, has evolved into a symbol of intelligence and resilience. Her return from an Achilles injury, her relentless pursuit of speed across 200m and 400m distances, and her unshakable composure have turned her into one of the most respected figures in track and field. If the race were to happen again, it wouldn't just be about redemption or rivalry. It would be about legacy. Athletes and analysts speak out, though neither athlete has confirmed the rumors. Both have dropped subtle hints. Gabby recently posted a cryptic caption on social media. Some races live forever, and some are meant to be rewritten. Sydney, known for her poetic and faith-driven posts, wrote, "Every season has its purpose. Some moments are worth revisiting." To fans, that was enough to spark wildfire-level excitement. Track analysts began speculating how the rematch might unfold. Sydney's 400m flat speed has only grown since that race, one former Olympian noted. But Gabby's tactical precision has evolved, too. If they go head-to-head again, it'll be a battle of composure versus calculation. Even Noah Lee chimed in during an interview, joking, "If USAF really brings that meat back, they better sell front row seats early, because that's a race you don't blink for." The venue of legends. Part of what makes the rumor so compelling is where it might take place. The same stadium that hosted the original event, a track considered sacred ground by many U.S. athletes. The venue's history stretches back decades. The kind of place where greats are remembered and legends are made. Fans recall how during that first epic race, the stadium's energy seemed alive. A sea of flags, chants, and the rhythmic thud of hundreds of feet pounding bleachers in anticipation. Bringing it back wouldn't just be a meet. It would be a moment of national track revival, a bridge between eras, a stage where both Sydney and Gabby could remind the world why American women's sprinting remains the heartbeat of the sport, what it could mean for the sport. The timing of such a revival couldn't be more fitting, with the global spotlight once again turning to track and field in anticipation of the next World Championships and Olympic cycle. USATF is looking for ways to reignite mainstream excitement. Fans have long called for marquee matchups that break traditional event silos. Seeing hurdlers face sprinters or 200m specialists test the 400m. The original McLaughlin-Levon versus Thomas duel prove that these matchups can transcend the sport, attracting audiences who might not usually watch track. And for young athletes, it's inspiring. Seeing women compete across disciplines reminds us that greatness isn't limited by labels, said an NCAA sprinter in a recent interview. It makes you want to push past what people expect of you. If the Race happens again, if the revival happens, fans already have their dream scenario. McLaughlin Levon in lane 5. Thomas in lane 6, the lanes where they once made history. No fireworks, no distractions, just the echo of the starter pistol, the silence before the storm, and the beauty of two world-class athletes pushing the limits of human performance. There's no guarantee of who would win. Maybe Sydney's strength would prevail again. Maybe Gabby's refined technique and determination would rewrite the ending. But what's certain is that the race would remind everyone why they fell in love with track and field in the first place. The echo of greatness. As the speculation continues, both athletes remain focused on their current goals. Yet, their stories seem destined to intertwine again. The meet that once defined them could soon reunite them, not as rivals, but as icons who represent everything powerful about the sport: excellence, respect, and the endless pursuit of better. Because sometimes history doesn't just repeat itself. Sometimes it returns with greater meaning. A second chance to relive greatness, to honor the past, while sprinting toward the future. And if USAF truly brings back the meet where Sydney McLaughlin Levron outpaced Gabby Thomas, one thing is certain: the world will be watching, hearts pounding, waiting to see who crosses the line first this time. Would you get a ticket to the 2026 LA Grand Prix? Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like and share. Till next time.